Alright. Ugh. This will be cushion me for this intro because this is for I'm wearing the dress for the next video. And but I have to refilm the intro and outro for this one because I ended up having to change it. So originally this dress was inspired by late night Pinterest scrolling, as I do, and I came across this picture of Lisa from Saved by the Bell wearing this black little dress with colorful looped sleeves, and it linked to like a BuzzFeed article, and they're talking about what they all wore on Saved by the Bell, and I think they were kind of lambasting this dress in particular. But I was intrigued because I have this rainbow purse that I really like, and I thought, oh, this might be a way for me to make a dress to match that purse, which I know is backwards. It's like the opposite of what people usually do. Um, but I really like this purse and I like rainbows, and I was like, oh, maybe I could make something inspired by this. So that's what I set out to do. However, did not turn out well. Like, I ended up trying to do like these like colorful bows that they just weren't good. So in the end, I scrapped that because this video was already too long, and I'm just gonna show the black pencil dress, which I think came out really cute. So I guess I failed my mission in that I didn't end up with a rainbow embellishment on this dress. However, I like the dress a lot, so I guess mission failed successfully. I'll take it. So yeah, hopefully you like the dress too, and on to the video. Okay, so what I ended up with is 4 yards of this black cotton, the So Classics. This is what I've been getting lately.
This was filmed well before Joann's impending closure, and I think a bunch of stores have already closed while I'm editing this. Unfortunate. There's not really a one-to-one alternative that I know of, but we shall adapt and continue. R.I.P.
So 4 yards of this, I think should be enough because I think I'm gonna just do like a pencil dress, like something simple. Let me show you my rudimentary sketch of this dress that I'm thinking about.
Okay. Here's the purse I was initially trying to match and the fabrics I was going to use to do so. I really love these colors. I think I'm going to have to try again in the future, But for now, I only end up with black, unfortunately.
Okay, so I just want something simple and, I mean, as usual, easy to wear. I debated because I want to do like a slim skirt. I think I thought about a flare, but I don't even know if I have enough fabric to do like a flare down here or a ruffle or something. We'll see. But I think I want to do a slim skirt. So I haven't. I debated putting a zipper in basically, and I'm kind of veering towards not doing it again, just because I like the adjustability of like a tie, you know, and I feel like sometimes it just hangs nicer on my body. But I probably still have fit issues. I need to like redo my adjustment on this way back too, I think. But even apart from that, just for comfort. And I haven't done it with a slim, not a flared skirt before, so I mean, I guess we'll see how it turns out. I'm also thinking of like keeping these darts, but using these center darts as just tucks instead of full like the diamond darts that I have in the pattern, in my block pattern. So do tucks there, and then do a long slim skirt, probably with like a vent in the back if I don't end up flaring it, and or just a slit in the back, and then puff sleeves. So yeah, and then a square neckline, kind of a little more shallow and wide, I think. We'll do it, and then I want to put ties on the sides that will, tie in the back. And yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to try to pattern this real fast. It shouldn't be too difficult, fingers crossed, and knock it out before eating. That's always my goal. Let me just throw it in the wash before I start patterning.
Oh no, I really need to clean that little triangle thing, whatever that thing is for. Ignore that.
Okay, I've traced my front block and penciled in the changes. We'll walk through those. As usual, I'm not going to do mock-ups, so we'll find out how it comes out. I'm just guessing here, and we'll see. So, okay. I don't know. If I do a mock-up, I won't do it. So, I've just accepted that about myself. Alright, so I penciled in my seam allowances, my half-inch seam allowances that are in the block, and all the measurements are from the seam allowance. Except for the arm side when I get there.
Let's try how voiceover goes this time, shall we? So for the score neckline, I didn't want it to be too low, so I went down 4 inches, and I just went out straight from the center front there. And then for the shoulder, I went over 2 inches because I didn't want it to be too wide or too deep so I could wear my bra. And I just made a right angle from that horizontal line for the bottom of the neckline to that 2 inches over. And then I added on my half-inch seam allowance, and that was it for the neckline. My bra still kind of showed here because, I don't know, there was some issues, but... Alright, and for the arm side, I went down a 1/4 inch. But I had already marked in a 1/4 inch out from the side seam as well, so that I could pull it on over my head. And then that 1/4 inch down was a 1/2 inch over from that new side seam for that seam allowance there. I didn't really need my French curve to make that tiny little line there, but I used it. So it was a 1/4 inch down for that arm side and a 1/4 inch out for all of the side seam. But I haven't marked that in yet. So then I went to that dart in the center, and I wanted to do a tuck instead of the full double-ended dart here. So I went an inch above and an inch below. And originally I thought I was going to just sew straight lines there, but then I changed my mind and decided to just follow the shape of the dart there. So 1 inch above and 1 inch below the waistline there is what I sewed up with the dart. And then I just extended that 1/4 inch out from the side seam all along the side there. I'm waiting on doing that dart until I can cut it out and know the shape I need. And then I just smoothed a little bit out from where the waist nips in there just to give myself a little bit more room. And then I was thinking about how much space, extra space do I have here? A 1/4 inch out from the side seam means a 1/4 times 4 is an inch. Plus like the extra from not doing up the darts in the back. So I figured it would be enough to pull on the dress without a zipper, you know? So then I extended the side and center front down 38 inches from the waist. That's the length I wanted. I wanted it to be quite long. I am 5'8" for reference. And then I did 1 inch at the bottom for the hem, but I think I added more because I ended up having more fabric than I thought I did. All right, and then I went 18 inches down from the biggest part of my hip there, and then went 1 inch over from that side and used that measurement to pencil in from the hip there. This worked out pretty well, so I think this is like the measurement I might use in the future to do like a pencil skirt, because I don't want them to be too tight, you know? And then I just went straight down for that hem allowance at the bottom there.
I markered in my back block pattern and I penciled in the changes I want to make. So let me walk through those.
Okay, so for the back, I wanted the neckline to be a square like the front. So I went down 2 inches from the center back and then over 2 inches at the shoulder from the neckline. And did the same thing. I just squared out from the center back, straight out, and then 90 degrees up to that 2-inch mark at the shoulder. Then I added my seam allowance, my 1/2 inch seam allowance, and that was it for the neckline. I kept that 1 inch in the center back there for the seam so that I could have a slit to walk with the pencil skirt. Okay, I did the same thing for the arm side here. I went down 1/4 inch and I extended the side seam out 1/4 inch also, just like at the front. And I just marked the bottom of that arm side there 1/2 inch from, so basically at that new seam allowance because I moved it out 1/4 inch. I hope that makes sense. Now to do that line at the waistline that I did in the front, I just matched up the line, the side seam line, and then just traced it. This is where having see-through paper is helpful. And then I just continued that extra 1/4 inch on the side seam. And I'm just saying like, oh, make sure I have enough space to pull it on. I think that's what I was saying there. And I did not use the back dart at all because I wanted space to pull on the dress. And I extended the length just like for the front, 38 inches down from the waistline. That mark there is just like where the front hip was. I just marked that when I traced the waistline. So I used that to extend it straight down because my bodice block has a curve there. I did try to see what the skirt would look like if I did the same thing as from the front, where like I went down 18 inches from the waist and then an inch and penciled it in like that. Does that even make sense? What was that sentence? But here I'm just showing like the length that I added, 38 inches from the waist, and then plus an inch for the hem, and that 1 inch there for the center back seam. Okay, what I ended up doing actually was just lining up the front pattern piece with the back at the side seam and making sure it was parallel to the center back and the center front were parallel. And then I just traced that. This ended up being wider than it would have been had I used the same technique as I did for the front. Like had I done the 1 inch in, 18 inches down from the waist, it would be narrower, but I was fine with that. I didn't want it to be too narrow of a skirt, you know. I thought it would be easier to sew like this, so I just matched it up and traced it.
Actually, wait, there's one new thing I wanted to try. All right, so I don't think this is going to be that narrow of a pencil skirt, but it is long. I mean, depending on how much fabric I end up having to make it this long. I don't know if I have enough to make it this long, honestly. But I usually just do a slit, and I'm thinking of maybe trying a kick pleat this time. So I've never done that before, and so I think it was Sew Anastasia. If I remember to link the video below, I will. And so I'm just gonna attempt a kick pleat, maybe. If not, I can always just sew a straight end, you know, just have a slit. But I'm gonna try it.
So I went down 23 inches from the waist, and that's how far up I decided to make the vent go. And then I just added a 2-inch wide additional rectangular section there at the bottom. And then just used my French curve to connect it to the center seam in the back. And that's literally it for the vent. Okay, and then for the sleeve, I traced my sleeve block pattern. Originally, I wanted like a longer short sleeve, so I marked where that 1/2 inch seam allowance was on the top and went down 9 inches and then added a 1-inch hem at the bottom. And then I added 1/2 inch on either side. I think my sleeve block is just a little tight, honestly. I should probably expand it. And then just squared off that 1-inch hem allowance in the bottom. I did label the B and F as the back and the front. And then I wanted to add a little bit of poof at the top, just a little bit. So I made a straight line at that 1/2 inch just under the sleeve cap. And then cut out the sleeve so that I can slash that to spread it. So cut through the sleeve cap to that line that I made, that horizontal line. And then I just spread it on paper. I think I went with an extra 1.5 inches. I have a little bit of gathering there anyway to make it fit. So an extra 1.5 inches, I just add a touch more. I'm taping it onto paper so that I trace it out and cut it out. And then that's the sleeve. I just eyeballed making that line at the top there. I just smoothed out the line that got a little messed up from adding that extra poof at the top.
And I might change the design, once I have the dress together and see how it looks.
And then for the facings, I just traced the front and the back necklines and added 2.5 inches or so at the shoulder and about 3 at the bottom of the neckline. Mostly just so I could have room to adjust things if I wanted to.
All right, here are the pieces. I just put these down here to help weigh it down, like the brown paper wants to curl so much. I even tried ironing down the facings so they don't really have tape on them. Mixed results, but it is what it is. So here are all the pattern pieces. Here's the front and the back, and then the front facing and the back facing and the sleeve. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not this will fit on the fabric, which is crumpled up over there. So later I'll figure that out. It is like really early in the morning because I didn't finish this before. I finished only the front. And then, but I woke up because it was really hot, and so I worked on this a bit, and we'll see if I can go catch a little bit more sleep. But the patterning is done, so yay, but it might have to be adjusted for the fabric. We'll see. Okay, it's day 3 of working on this. I had to split the patterning into a couple different days. I think it took me like
5 hours maybe. I think part of it's just because I have to like do it and then redo it and then explain it, so it takes longer. But I'm still slow in every step anyway. But so here's the fabric. It's washed and dried. So I think I just want to get it cut out, and I'm hoping I can do it really fast. That's always my hope, because cutting is the worst. So I guess let me lay it out and then see if everything fits on it, and hopefully it does, and then I can rough cut on the ground and make it better on the table. I wish I had a bigger table. Maybe at some point I'll have like a 6 feet long table, but the day's not today, so I'm gonna do the best I can. All right, it fits. So yay. Oop. So it was able to put the facing on the fold here, so that's good. And yeah, so I'm gonna rough cut out and then rotary cut on the table. And I might actually just, straight across. No, I'll rough cut out and then cut on the table, and without the mat, because it's just not big enough. And my table's already cut up, so let's cut it some more, I think I'm going to add an inch to the bottom because I have enough space to do a deeper hem. Alright, I poked holes in the pattern so that I can mark the darts. So I'm just going to use this wax pencil that hopefully works okay. You can see it, Yeah, that worked. Okay. I think I'm going to add an inch to the bottom of the sleeve too, to give myself more hem, or maybe just more wiggle room for length, honestly. All right, so everything's cut and marked and ironed. I know I should have probably ironed before cutting, but it's just, I find it so overwhelming to iron all of that at once. So this is how I did it, and it'll be fine, hopefully. And yeah, so I think that's pretty good. And it took me, how long did it take me? Took me about a little bit over an hour, so I'm happy with that. That's not so bad, All right, so time to break for food as usual. It's enough for today. Okay. All right, so stepping on the pattern. Okay. Okay, so it's the next day. I think it's the next day. I think day 4. Yeah, I think day 4. So people like knock this stuff out so fast, and I'm just like, I have like a couple hours in me a day, That's okay. I will go a little bit at a time because eventually it gets finished, So today, my goal is to serge all the edges and sew the darts and like the partial darts in the center front too. So yeah, and yeah, maybe I'll cut out some ties
I'm gonna think about it. Let me do that stuff first. Hopefully I'll get that done, and then I'll think about ties, maybe. Perhaps. Because I'm always taking them out again. You know? I have to change out the serging threads from the last one. Back to black. Alright. Alright, done. I'm good to go. All right, I've serged everything. But I don't know if I have time to finish the darts right now to pin and sew the darts. So I think instead I'm gonna just cut out the ties from the scrappy bits here. I'm not sure exactly how long I need them to be. I'll just guess. I'll just guess. Let's see how it turns out. Okay, I think I want them to be 2 inches wide, the straps, just to like get a nice cinch. So, I mean, we're gonna go for it and see. And so, this is double layered and it's about 24 inches across this way, lengthwise. So, I'll just cut it in half to make 2 of them. Kind of feels like closing the barn door after the cows or horses or whatever have left because I'm using a cutting mat for this, but that's fine. It'll save it a little bit of scratching. The selvage, I don't want any of the selvage in it because it's harder. It's like not as flexible. So I want that to like affect the straps. Okay, and then I will just straighten the end. Alright, there we go. So just I think a touch over 24 inches by 5 inches, and then it'll be like this, and hopefully long enough to tie, you know. I think I'll be fine. They're not gonna be like perfect, but it'll be fine. If I don't like it, then I'll do something about it, but I think it'll be fine. Alright, so 2 ties, a little over 24 inches by 5 inches wide. Okay, it's been a couple days since I've worked on this, and I don't have a lot of time right now, but I think if I can just get through the darts and maybe sewing up the ties and attaching them to the sides, if I can get through that much, that'd be great. And then extra would be sewing the shoulders and attaching the facing. We'll see if I get there. But if I can at least get the darts and the ties done, that'll be good. Okay, I've pinned the little tucks and the darts, and I'm gonna try my best to not get poked while I sew these up. Alright, I'm also gonna iron the ties in half. Alright, I don't want the edges to be blocky, so I am going to make a line here, actually, by folding it and then half crease it off. Right, so I'll slide that until we turn that way. There we go. So then let me just mark that half inch on out here. Just as a guide. Alright. So then I can just sew this and then straight. So let me do that. Actually, before I do that,
Let's go through and serge this flat end first. Just open it and serge both so that that's finished first, and then I'll sew my little corner and then straight out my 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I sewed up the ties with the angle point at the ends and turned them inside out and ironed them flat. So now I'm just gonna sew them onto the waistline. So when I'm attaching the front and the backs, it'll be simple and easy for me. So I'm just gonna use the tucks as a guide for the waistline here. Alright, so I'm just gonna sew within the seam allowance here, so I'll just sew close to the edge here just to secure them on. They look even enough, you know. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so I've done the darts and the tucks, and the ties are sewn and attached to the front. I think I'm gonna stop here. So I think it's probably like an hour and 20, hour and a half, something like that. So I'll stop here for now, and then next time I have to move on to shoulders and facing, most likely. It's probably all I'll get done next time. Time to eat. I think this is day 5. It's the next day. I think it's day 5. Right? 2 days of patterning. 2 days of patterning, 1 cutting, 1 serging, and then darts and ties yesterday. Oh, this is day 6 maybe. It's one of those. So today I want to, I think, mostly sew up the back seam at that 1 inch allowance, leaving enough space at the bottom to do the kick pleat later, but I don't want to do that quite yet until I can even out the hem. So, because it always needs to be even out, not always, but usually. And I want to sew together the shoulder seams, the front to the backs, and then I want to attach the facing. So let's see how much I can get done. If I get all that done, then maybe I can prep the sleeves to insert later, you know? I am lagging. Alright, let me focus up. Let's see what I can get done. Okay, so I sewed the back center seam up to like maybe a hand span above the curve for the kick plate. I don't know how much space I'm gonna actually need, so we'll see. And I've ironed it flat. So now I need to do the shoulder seams, and just clip those together. Right sides together. Alright, the shoulder seams, I'm gonna just grab a facing too, so it's a little at the same time. Okay, so for the center back, I need to do that 1 inch seam in the back also. I could have cut this in the fold. I didn't even think about it. Here we are. Let's just do the 1-inch back. Now I'll just sew this 1-inch seam real fast off camera and then come back and clip the shoulders. Okay, I sewed and pressed the center back with that 1-inch seam allowance. Can you even see? But do yourself a favor and just trim off this 1-inch here on the pattern and just cut it in the fold. Then stay as a step and reduces bulk in the back. There doesn't need to be a seam here, you know? So that's done now. Now I can clip together the shoulders here. Right? So I'm gonna do the shoulders for the facing and for the main bodice, or the main dress, and then move on to actually attaching them together. So to insert the back, hopefully it's tucked away and okay. Okay, so before I attach it, I'm just gonna mark everything. So I'm gonna mark, this is a seam in center back, but center front, I am just going to mark here on the back side. All right, and then I'm just gonna go around and mark my 1/2-inch seam allowance, so it's easier for me to see what I sew. Alright, those are marked, and I'm just going to mark the center front of the main bodice. Okay, so I just folded and marked the center front of the main bodice on the right side. So now I just need to line up the facing and pin it. I can't clip it because it needs to be more precise for this, unfortunately. So I will endeavor not to prick myself, but we shall see. Okay, I've pinned the facing and somehow ended up with like 1 inch of excess in the center back here. I don't know how. Probably I did something in cutting or something. I don't know. So I think what I'll do is I'll just sew it on, and then at the end, whatever's left, I will have to just do another seam in the back here and then finish attaching the center back. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. I always like feel this way about facings. They're never exactly right. I think in the pinafore there was a section of the facing I ended up gathering because I didn't want to deal with it. Alright, so I sewed on the facing and trimmed that excess in the back after re-sewing. It's still not perfect, but it's good enough, you know? And clipped the corners and took off some of the bulk from the shoulder seams and understitched, sewed like the seam allowance to the facing and just ironed it. So the neckline is done. I was like crisp, it is crisp. So I think I'm gonna stop here because it's already been like 2 hours and I don't know, maybe 20 minutes or something. It just always takes longer. The facing already takes a while, and then everything takes longer when I'm filming. So that's as far as I'm gonna get for now. And then next time I'll like set up the sleeves. The side seams too, I forgot the side seams. So maybe next time I'll do side seams and sleeves. We'll see if we get there. I feel like I always have like this giant list. I'm like, oh, maybe I can do this, this, and this. And no, my instincts are correct when I say I'll do this and this, you know? All right, time to eat. All right, it's been a couple days since I worked on this. What do I need to do? I'm like completely out of the flow now. Okay, I need to do the side seams. So I'm gonna do the side seams first, and then I will prep the sleeves. But I'm not planning on doing too much today. I have other stuff to do. So I'm
I'm gonna try to just, if I can at least get the side seams done and prep the sleeves, that would be good progress. If I can get the sleeves on, even better, you know, but let's see how far I can get. All right, I was clipping both side seams because I love a clip. However, I don't have enough clips to do such long side seams, so I ended up having to do pins and then clips because I figured this part needs to be more precise anyway. But I've had these clips forever, and I've just broken a bunch of them, you know. So I think I'm going to order more because I could have avoided all of these, you know. All right, let me go sew up these side seams and stop whining about the pins. All right, side seams done. So I'm gonna move on to the sleeves and make sure I have the mirror images so I don't sew two right sleeves or something. So the mirror images, I think, and then I just went through and marked like the sleeve cap point and then like where to gather and then what the back is. So I think first I'm just gonna put in the gathering stitch and then sew together like in the round, probably like this, so that the markings will be on the inside. All right, so I still have some time and energy. So I'm just gonna iron the seam and then fold up the hem. So I have like 2 inches down here, but we'll see how much I end up turning it because I'm not always that accurate with it. Okay, so, ow, ow, I just wrapped my own knuckles. Ooh, okay, so the sleeves are ready to set, and I was gonna stop here, but I was like, maybe I can just set them real fast, so I'm gonna see here if I can do that, or abandon it in the middle. We'll find out. Okay, so I've pinned the heck out of both of them. And trying to gather this little tiny section, maybe I should have just like gathered a bigger section, but I was trying to keep the sleeve cap at the top. In any case, I have pinned the heck out of it. So that took me like half an hour just to pin both of them. So I think I will actually end up sewing these on next time. So I'm just gonna stop here. But that's pretty good. I mean, I'm happy. At least I have these ready to sew now. I'll leave it weirdly up like this. Very sculptural. Okay, it's the next day, so I need to sew on the pin sleeves and try it on to make sure I can actually pull it on over my head and work on the vent. But I guess I should even at the hem before I do the vent. Okay, yes, that's the game plan. Oh, I almost have to like gear up and then go do it. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Sleeves, at least they're pinned, you know? Bright side. the sleeves are on, so yay. I mean, it did get caught on one side. Here. Yeah, right here, if you can see that. But like, it's in the back and it's towards the bottom, like towards the inside, so I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not doing that again. And then I'd forgotten to iron the side seam, so I did that. And I checked to see if I can pull it on over my head, and I can. I just can, you know. Good thing I am squishy. So, yeah. What else? I think I only have to do the hem and the vent now, or the vent and then the hem. And I don't think I have to even it out really either. So I can just go forward with that, but not right now. I'll do that next time. Alright, it's the next day, and today I just want to do the kick pleat. So haven't done it before, and Shark Week has hit, and I thought, okay, I'll do like one thing, you know? So that's what I'm gonna do. I watched a video on Anastasia's channel, is that the name of the channel? Which is really good, and hope I remember to link it in the description. So I'm gonna see if I remember what she said to do. And yeah, let's see if it's successful and if it looks neat and if it works. So hopefully I made it long enough so that I can move easily. All right, let's do it. Okay, so she marked the left side. She marked the left side with the allowance in the back. For me that's 1 inch, but I know I added like a couple inches in the back here, I think, for the kick pleat itself. So at the bottom here, I should be at about 3 inches. Let me just mark that. So that's how much I will have to fold it. So I'm gonna be folding it like this. I think what I'm gonna do, so I did mark in the back, I think what I'm gonna do is just iron it. So I'm just gonna go iron it into place. I think that'll be the easiest way to do this. All right, so this is folded and ironed at 3 inches, and then I'm also gonna mark the hem allowance, which is 2 inches now, after I added an inch when I was cutting it out. So I'm just gonna iron this flap down across here. So let me just clip it so it stays in place. Okay, so that's sewn, and make sure you don't do what I almost did. I almost sewed the back to the front. This is just the back, you know. So now I think I have to cut off this excess so I can turn it, because it's a corner. My hem is pretty deep, so, because I was planning to turn it up twice, you know. But I didn't think about this part. Okay, so then I'm supposed to turn it inside out. Oh, that as well. So I just, it was like this. So now I just turned it inside out so that it just made a corner. Like that. A little corner. And then that becomes the back. So that's basically starts the hem, I think. So let me just flatten that. How exciting. A cool corner. Look. How fun. Okay. So that's the right side. And then let me just iron it now so that I don't have to iron it later if I have to do that. I'm not going to go all the way because I have to sew, because I didn't sew all the way down to the kick pleat. I'm going to sew that part anyway, so that'll help me iron that later. Okay, now onto the right side. I hope that was clear. I don't know how clear it was though, because it is like black and I showed it on the ironing board, but here's what I ended up with after I turned it inside out. So here it is sewn in. So that's nice and crisp and neat. And so now, you know, let me shake this out so it's clear. Okay, so now that's the left side prepped now, or done, basically, I think. And then the right side is that right? Turn this up and then sewed it 1/2 inch. I think that's right, because I did this one, I sewed across, this one I sewed, okay, yeah, all right. I think this one I have to actually fold this up. Okay, so I'm gonna fold this up like, you know, the seam allowance width. I believe so. That would be the hem allowance, I mean. So that would be 2 inches for me. So this is the right side. I just folded this up 2 inches, the hem, and then I'm gonna sew it vertically at about 1/2 inch in. I think that's what I'm supposed to do on the right side. We shall see. Okay, so that 1/2 inch is sewn vertically on that right side. And I think I just turn this one too. Like that. Is that clear? Okay, so this 1/2 inch I sewed here, I just ironed down here. I don't know how visible that was. So I think I sewed this part down now. Okay, I just rechecked the video. Yes, so I have to sew this down. Okay, so I'm just gonna sew that where I turned in that 1/2 inch-ish down. Okay, so here's where I am with the kick pleat now. Left side turned in like that, so the whole extra extension is sewn down and turned inside out, so it's a clean corner. And then the right side, the bottom is actually turned up, and then sewn vertically. And then this inside part is sewn down, like that 1/2 inch that was sewn vertically. So that's how that looks. And this is how this looks. So this one's clearly going to overlap. It's going to be, so the left side is going to be over the right side, I think. So now what I need to do to complete it is to put right sides together of this. So finish this seam, put this right sides together, and sew the curve together. Okay, so I've turned it inside out, and now I have to finish sewing up that 1 inch allowance in the back. Okay, so I have to just sew that inch here, finish that, and then just go to the curve. And then after that, I have to sew a diagonal line on the outside, I think. So let me do this real fast. Alright, so that's sewn together now up here. So I'm just going to turn it inside out. I think it's a pleat, right? Let me just zhuzh it a bit. Just see. Yeah, look at that. Looks like a pleat to me. Yes. Yay. Okay, so I think now we're supposed to do like a diagonal sew here. You can feel where that is, where it's the flap is loose inside. So I think I'm gonna just iron this down and hold and clip it in place before I do that. That stays together, and then just gonna go by feel here. Where is it? Right here. So I'm just gonna go in and do a diagonal here where I can feel that. it just caught here, this corner. So I guess that means that won't flap now? I think that's correct. And here's how that looks. It's fine, you know. It's black on black. The reality is nobody will notice. And if they do, they're looking too closely. Back away. Alright, it's the next day. I stopped working on the dress after I finished the event yesterday, which I was proud of because it was something new. So I really don't want to work on it today. So I think like I'm gonna just try to do the hem, you know? But I am gonna try something new because I haven't done a blind hem on a machine before. I will just like do a straight stitch on there and hope for the best, you know? But I saw a video, it doesn't look too crazy, fingers crossed, maybe I can do it. So the first thing is to just iron it up, that 2-inch hem allowance I have on there, and then I think you fold it back and then run to the machine. So let's see how that goes. Okay, I'm watching the Aspiring Gent video on blind hemming, and so on YouTube, and so I think, okay, so once I have this folded up like that, I think I'm supposed to fold this like that so that the edge, like the bottom edge that was turned up, is just peeking out, and then this I run through the sewing machine here. So I'm just gonna pin it like this so that I can hold it in place and then go to the sewing machine. Okay, for me I think it's number 12. I just did a test run just to see. And I mean, it looks okay. Clearly, like, if you get even a bit past the edge, the stitch gets really long. If you get it really close to the edge, that's like ideal. Let's see how this goes. Alright, so I did the blind hem and ironed it, and it looks pretty good. It is pretty unnoticeable. I mean, I did accidentally skip some stitches, and some of them are a little long, but I think enough were good enough that it's going to be okay. Hopefully I remember to link his video because I think that was a lot clearer. But just to show the difference, here's like the blind hem. Right, there's the blind hem, and then here is the regular hem I did on the sleeve. I don't know. The regular hem on the sleeve, blind hem right here. I mean, it's black on black, so I don't know if it matters that much. I don't know if I'll do this every time either, because it is more involved. Yeah, but I mean, know how to do it now, and it wasn't that bad, so that's good. But I think I'm gonna stop there for now. So one new skill done though, so that's good.
Okay, so originally I had tried the dress on with the bows, and I felt like the sleeves were too long and visually just too heavy to go with the sleeves. So then I decided to cut the sleeves shorter into like cap sleeve situation, and yeah, that's what I did. Even though I ended up with no bows, I still don't hate the sleeves, so, but I feel like I could have kept them long or cut them short, and either would have been fine. Okay, so I've turned it inside out and I'm trying to figure out what to do with the sleeve here. So it could be sleeveless, then I'll have to deal with the facing, etc., etc. And, you know, I do prefer a sleeve, so I think I'm gonna try to just keep the sleeve on, just make it more of a cap-like sleeve.
which I haven't done before. So, you know, big room for error, big high percentage of, you know, chance of error. But I don't want it to show too much, you know? So I don't know how this is gonna turn out. I kept like 2 inches in the bottom here where the armpit is, and then 3.5 up here. So I'm hoping that's enough to just do like a little hem. Yeah, and then I just freehand curved it. Try to keep like some space here straight, so hopefully it doesn't look crazy where it shows on the outside. But I'm also hoping the sleeve doesn't show that much to begin with, you know? So I'm just gonna go with it. I did the same mark on the other side also, roughly anyway. Is it gonna be completely symmetrical? Probably not, but I mean, I feel like it's not gonna matter too much, honestly. And if it gets messed up, it gets messed up, you know? Alright. I'm not sure if I can serge this. It's so short, but let me see if I can. Alright, I was able to serge it. So now I just like clipped it under roughly 1/2 inch. I didn't measure or anything. It's not perfect because this is not where it was meant to be hemmed. So I just folded it in a bit extra under the underarm here. So hopefully it's fine.
Well, that was an abrupt end, so I'm just gonna add in here that was it. And on to the reveal.
All right, so I'm gonna do this with the pillow still in front of me. I really like the dress. I think it's really cute. So wait, I have a list. The list. I'm gonna stick to my list here. Number one, aesthetics. Aesthetically, I really enjoy it. I think it's super cute. At least to my eye, it reads very vintage inspired, and I really enjoy that. I would think, and I think the neckline is very flattering. The neckline, the square neckline is very flattering, and the cap sleeve goes with it. But I do think like I would be more comfortable with a sleeve that's a little bit longer. So yeah. And but other than that, I really like how it looks. I think it's really cute, and I always like black. Let's see, lifestyle. Would I pull this out of the closet and put it on my body? I feel like middling, and I think that's more my issue because I just never wear a pencil silhouette. Um, or I don't wear a pencil. Yeah, I don't really wear, even though I've made them, I don't really wear them. And that's a mental thing, I think. I think if I started just wearing them, I would get over it. But right now, I just like the loosey goosiness of like a big flared skirt, you know, or just like an A line or something. But I think that's more my hump to get over. So I think I could get to wearing this dress, perhaps. Fingers crossed. Um, sturdiness. And it's very sturdy. It's a black cotton, so I don't have to be precious about when I'm wearing it because I can just throw it in the washer and the dryer and it'll be fine, you know? Yeah. Uh, and and there's no fastenings that could break. So perfect, great. Comfort. I think it's very comfortable. The pencil part is not too slim, and the vent, like I have plenty of ease of movement, so no problems there. And it's cotton, so it's breathable, and yeah, and it's black. Black is, I feel like, universally easy to wear. Um, I think the only issues I have are the neckline and the sleeves. So the neckline is not too big. I wore my bra with it and it was fine, but like I had to bobby pin my straps in with the top of the shoulder to try to keep them in place. And even then, they showed with certain movements and stuff. So I think maybe if I raised the back of the neckline, maybe that wouldn't be as much of an issue. Um, so that's one ding for comfort, and the other one is just the sleeve is quite short. I don't know if I love having so much arm meat out, like I said before. So, yeah, I think I would just prefer having a slightly longer sleeve. Also, I forgot to mention that because I did the sleeve on the fly, it's a little bit loose. So it's loose enough that at some angles you can see right into where the sleeve attaches to the bodice, and you can see that seam. That seam kind of peeks out, which is not great. So those two things. But otherwise, very comfortable. Like moving around, wearing it, very comfortable. And like the adjustable nature of having a waist tie is great. You know, I could loosen it, tighten it, and I did, and that was great. Um, Ease of construction. Okay, pretty easy to make because there's no fastenings. The only things that were a little more difficult were the vent in the back and the blind hem, because those are the first times I did those two things. But if you just did a slit and a regular hem, would be fine. And if you didn't do a sleeve at all, made it sleeveless, even easier. So this could be made more simply. But even as is, it wasn't too bad. So yeah, I would say easy construction, not bad, but not super easy, you know? And I'm proud of myself for doing two new techniques, you know, blind hem and the vent. So, you know, good job me. And cost, it's just black cotton, so it wasn't too much. I can't remember exactly how much, but like I think, I don't know, maybe like $25, something like that. So definitely worth it because I don't even know if you could find a dress like this in like a cotton. Because I feel like a lot of times they're made out of synthetics. Or maybe I'm just not looking high end enough. I don't know. But yeah, would I make it again? Would make it again because I think it's very cute and flattering and wearable. And I'm going to try my best to pull it out of the closet and put it on my body. You know, push through the pencil skirt barrier. And yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, yeah, and the shoes ended up having to return because I was wore them for the filming the reveal because I wanted black shoes, but just wearing them for the reveal, I realized they're just a smidge too high for me, so I had to return them, unfortunately, because I really liked them. And yeah, and then I did think it was funny that the original inspo for this dress was to make something rainbow to match my rainbow purse, and it ended up with an all black outfit that I styled with black accessories. But you know, sometimes that's just how it goes, you know, and it's fine. I like the dress, so I say, you know, mission failed successfully. But yeah, I think that's everything, and yeah, thanks for watching.